This is teacher training video Sukhasana. Okay. Okay. Sitting up very tall. If it's more comfortable to raise your hips, sit on a big pillow or a blanket. If your legs are uncomfortable, straighten one out or both out in front. For today, I'm going to do this because today, just for a moment, I'm going to straighten my spine. You might find, generally, if you do this with both of your legs out straight first, you get better. You don't need to, Simone, because you've got a very supple pelvis. Our pelvises are not. So I've noticed that if I start like this, I can get my sacrum better tilted. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Whereas for us, with our knees bent, the sacrum is compromised. Can you feel that?
Mm.
Good. So let's pull up in the pelvic floor. So this is very much true yoga therapy. I don't really go into this stuff in class because we don't have time. We just don't. It's terrible. I can teach 3-hour classes every time. That's why I always go over, because there's so much information in each posture, and that's what this is for. These videos are for that. Okay, so the legs are soft and long. The pelvis is active. Really suck up that Muladhara chakra. That's another thing that you need to be confident that I'll be mentioning all of the chakra work in the postures as well. So drawing up the pelvic floor, the Muladhara, the red chakra, sucking in at the tummy, the Svadhisthana chakra, lifting up into the rib cage, past the Manipura, the yellow, lifting up, opening in the heart, Anahata. You can feel your ribs expanding. Spine is lovely and long. Good, now we are aligned. Now let's fold the knees, and if you choose to, Anne-Lee, just fold one leg or the other, whichever's more comfortable for you. But try and keep that spinal alignment if you can. Which for you, Simone, is easy, I think, isn't it? So remembering that pelvic tilt. Now you might have seen in some old classes, we used to grab the butt cheek and pull it out. That was us assembling the sacrum, getting the pelvis. Did that feel good?
I like
That's
it.
another trick. So we grab the cheeks
Yes.
all the way under here, grab from your sit bone and lift the flesh up, whether we've got a lot of bum or not. We move the sacrum a little bit. There's another little trick for you. Okay, good. So let's go back to pelvic floor, tummy, lifting up, and chin to the chest. And we'll stay here traditionally for 3 deep breaths. This is when I like to quieten down a little bit. Inhale. Exhale. In, relaxing into it, observing which parts of the body are comfortable. At various times in your classes, girls, you'll look around the room and see who's struggling. You've got to keep noticing, keep an eye on your ladies. And as I said earlier, as I wrote, know your audience. If you've got a bunch of 20-year-olds, give them the actual posture. If you've got a bunch of 50-year-olds, cut them a lot of slack. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to collapse, fold, hunching. Now what I've noticed also is that when we hunch the spine and begin the actual posture, folding forward version of it, sitting on a blanket can be uncomfortable. It can tilt our pelvis the wrong way. So Janley, I want you to try that same posture that you're in now without the blanket. And notice how it changes your pelvis. You might prefer it. You might not prefer it.
So it was going backwards, you don't want that.
Now, no, I do
Okay.
want you to collapse into it now. I still want you to collapse. I want you to feel like you've fallen asleep in front of telly, slouching. So my question is, now that your pelvis is 2 inches lower, is that better? Yeah, good. And at any point in time, we can ask our students how comfortable they are. It might not seem relevant to the person next door, but we've got to understand that everybody is different. Alright, when you're ready, girls, we'll decide whether we're going to go forward. You might be ready to go forward into a full forward bend. If so, do, Simone. And for us, generally, what we'll do is decide, are we going to just put knees on, elbows on knees? Is that as far as you want to go today, or thighs? You you can just, for example, just hang out here. Now you've fallen asleep after a glass of wine in front of TV. Then I'm saying that, I'm not being silly, I'm saying that because I want you to feel like you're slouched. No muscles are working here. You've passed out, you're upright sleeping. That's what this posture wants to feel like. And then we do more work in it. If you're ready, you'll go further forward. So for you generally, so whether you want to go further forward, you encourage your students to put their hands down and see how that feels. Because really, it's better to have it's more supportive to have the hands on the ground than there. But I always like to tell my girls, it's okay to put your hands on your knees because it's less scary. It's like, oh, just hanging out. If the hips start to hurt or any body part starts to hurt, swipe, abort mission, come out of it. This is what I say to my ladies. If you are able to bend your elbows here, that's the next step. We want everyone to be able to bend their elbows, but I have found after 30 years only 50% of people will ever get there. Is that a fair assumption? Yeah, 50% of people won't. Because of tight hips, because of knee, because of a whole range of reasons. Okay, when you're ready, coming out of that and sitting up tall. I'm going to show you another slight variation that I've been doing for years. If you wanted to do more,
Be on an angle, or does it need to be?
for you, anywhere. Your job is comfort. If you have carpet in the room for obvious reasons, it's better. I love carpet. I have carpet. So it doesn't matter. Comfort.
Yep.
We're working on getting those hips and spine and everything in the right place. It's realignment work, really. From here, we're going to go into the next posture. So notice I didn't talk about the gracilis muscle. Again, people don't want to know about it. We were working on this, but instead of saying the gracilis muscle, we say hips. Everyone knows where the hips are. So we don't want to really insult them with science. Okay, so skipping to the next posture, Padmasana. Padmasana is the easy pose as well, and it's basically the same posture with one foot resting. Heel is aligned with the belly button if we can. So for you, you don't have to try. What I'm going to get you to do is grab one of your blocks, and you'll try and put your block in front of you. So one leg's out there, and you'll put your block and see if you can get your foot onto that block. And that's how we open hips. Yeah?
Is it okay that this is higher
Doesn't
than what I am?
matter.
I don't need to be on a blanket?
No.
Okay.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Would you prefer to be on a blanket? Your sacrum looks good to me.
No, that's right.
If you can lift up, if you can tilt your pelvis just enough to be straight up, you don't need a blanket. But the blanket's a nice place to start because we all start tight.
Yeah.
I've come onto a very flat memory foam pillow which comes down to ½ an inch. But it still cradles my very tender sacrum. It's still here because I do too much. It's not actually injured, I just do too much. So that's a really beautiful thing to do. Would you mind throwing me that block so I can demonstrate what you're doing on camera? Good throw. Okay. For people that can't get their foot up here, what we will do is give them the opportunity to get their foot resting there. And the alignment is important. Heel to belly button, or heel in line with the belly button. And I'll talk about that right now, and Simone, you'll be able to experience this when you go forward now. So I'm going to go back into that posture. You stay there, and in a minute you'll change legs. So for us, this, ideally, when we go forward, try to go forward just a little bit, don't work too hard. When we go forward, the heel pushes into the hara centre, which is the space below. It's almost, I think, I'd like to suggest that the hara centre is womb.
Yeah.
It's just below the belly button. It's womb. There's a lot written about it, but I can't find any stuff that I like. It's not old enough. These books don't have I don't even know where I learned it. Hara centre.
I love it.
It's beautiful. So let's come out of that slowly. And now I will teach you how to get beginners into the full lotus, which is kind of funny. Okay, so full lotus being both feet raised, 1 foot on top. I'll take my socks off so it's more visible in the camera. Simone can do this nicely. Check out Simone's. I know you can't. I'll get your legs.
It's easy.
I'll show you the steps to it, so that if you do have students that can, you'll know how to teach them.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you can't. Okay, so both of my feet are going onto my thighs. And what we want to try to do here is get our feet higher and our knees closer, Simone. Bring your knees in closer. Feet higher, knees closer. We want to minimise the distance between the knees. Yeah? Minimising the distance between the knees. It's tricky stuff, and that makes the posture not as successful. So let's go back to so this would be the advanced version of this posture, where the knees are like train tracks, parallel. Not just the knees, the femur bones, thigh bone, straight up, which means I've then got my heels all the way over here. We don't really need to do that. That's a very, very strong posture, but what it does do is it opens the hips right up. Okay, our version of it would be just relaxing into, for me, my comfortable version is half. 1 foot up, 1 foot down. I'm not going to torture myself anymore, because it can be considered a strong stretch. It's not just yang. For me, it can create too much energy, too much chi, when really we want to ground. We want to ground into our postures. We're not running a marathon. So the two postures are easy if you've got the hips. Now let me demonstrate how to get into the other one for beginners, the last one, which is Ardha Padmasana. No, this is Padmasana. The half lotus is the Ardha Padmasana. Padmasana is the full lotus. Okay, this is the demonstration. I'll do it this way so my mum's not in camera. We start here. And we kind of manipulate the legs to where we want them. Actually, Simone, if you did this, you'd probably get your legs folded, because it's the weight on the pelvis that prevents you from getting your legs folded. And then we do that. And then we pull the legs across. That's how we get there. So all we do is try. So we've taken the weight off the pelvis all together. No weight on the pelvis. And then we tuck one leg in. So what you could do, Simone, is play around with that, but don't overdo it, honey. And what you could do generally is just explore putting one knee in front of the other. Put one knee in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. That's all I want you to play with. And bend this leg, and then push and open. And that's what you do, one leg at a time, until eventually one day you go, God, I did it. Does that feel different?
For me, it doesn't. It it's the foot on the thigh
Right.
that is pain.
Right,
It's
it
the
hurts.
push.
It physically hurts.
It physically
yes.
hurts.
Yes.
Nothing
yes.
else is really happening.
Yeah, right.
That's what.
Yes,
and that's why
I've
I
heard
can't-
that.
Yes,
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's pushing.
I think I might have experienced that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
That's why I don't do it, because it drags and pulls, it hurts.
It hurts. It physically, it hurts. It's
yes,
unbearably uncomfortable.
yes,
This foot, not this one. This one.
right,
That's
the
like-
pressure, because that top leg. What's that noise? Us birds on the roof. The top leg is pushing down. I remember
this
that. You've
one's-
reminded me.
Yeah. It
Now,
hurts.
why doesn't this hurt anymore? Move the leg. Make it easier. Can you move the foot out off the thigh a little bit?
What?
To make it less painful?
Well, yeah.
Good.
That's
That's
completely.
your so that's your
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah.
We have to own our version and love it.
Yeah.
It's birds on the roof. It's birds on the roof in the sun. Okay, lovely. Alright, have a little rest if you want. Lay down. Good idea, Janlene. Okay, moving on. Paschimottanasana. Are you okay, Janlene?
Yeah, I'm just doing my head.
Oh, you've got a headache, haven't you? Oh, that's no good. You can skip this
No, it's okay.
if you want. Paschimottanasana. The trick is to push the feet out as though the feet are up against a wall. Your feet feel like they're up against a wall. Yes. And oftentimes people will say, are my heels supposed to be off the ground? And I'll say, no, my bad. If we activate those knee muscles we've been working on in class, that's how we get the heels down. Isn't that awful?
Horrendous.
It feels very challenging. So why do our heels come off? Because our legs are a tiny weeny bit bowed, because we've got very straight legs. This is very straight leg. Most people will have their heels on the ground because their hamstrings are not that long. Okay, from here we keep, if we can, keep the feet flexed. However, if you don't want to, relax. Your students, some of them will hate having their foot flexed because they might have sore ankles. It must be optional. And notice people that can't flex their feet. There's a lot of middle-aged women that really have lost their connection to their feet. They've been wearing silly shoes for too long. So this is really important. Okay, I'm going to rest them anyway because that actually gets my right calf muscle. Which muscles does it annoy you girls? Any in particular?
When you're flexing.
Yeah? Okay, good.
But I can't get the backs of my knees down.
No.
Nah.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's tricky. No, when I get my heels on the ground, I can't get the backs of my knees down.
No.
No. So it's still not straight, but it's straight. But it's safer than overflexing when we're standing. What we're talking about is people with very long hamstrings are in danger when they stand and over-straighten their leg. It means they can damage their knees in the long run, which is what's happened to Leanne, in my opinion. So we need to look in the mirror and know what straight is and activate the musculature to create that. And that can take years, decades even, because we're rebuilding our bodies. And it's taken me a decade to nail that. In fact, I almost needed to, the injury 15 years ago, swipe the body, lose all muscle memory, and then rebuild it. It's taken me a long time to rebuild it. I need to try really hard.
I'm trying really hard.
Good. If I knew what those muscles were called, I could say congratulations on activating them, but I don't know what they are
The
yet.
leg muscles.
The leg muscles. The backs of the knees.
Yes.
Okay, let's relax
I
those
feel
now.
the
and we'll-
strain there, if anything.
Yeah,
Just trying
might
to
get in the
hold
front.
that.
Yes. And you know, one of these problems we see in middle-aged women and older middle-aged women is they trip over and fall in the street because they're not watching where they're going. Nor should we. And one of the reasons we fall is because this group of muscles get soft and useless in older age because people aren't walking up hills anymore. They're not walking 3 kilometres in the malls with their children. We used to walk many kilometres a week without even noticing it when we had small kids, didn't we?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go into the actual posture, the forward bend version. Sitting up tall, activating the pelvic floor, which is Muladhara chakra, activating the Svadhisthana, which is the area below the belly button, around the belly button, which also homes the Hara center I spoke of a minute ago. Now we're lifting up to the Manipura yellow, green heart chakra, all the way up to Vishuddhi, which is our throat chakra, and then we close off Vishuddhi, which is sealing the jar. And if we have our eyes open, we'll be looking at the floor in between our legs. And then we don't collapse in the spine in this one, we don't fold forward, we put our hands on our legs and walk forward, trying to keep the spine straight, So you might only get to your knees with a flat back. Flat back, flat back, flat back. It's hard, isn't it? Flat back. Flat back, not curved. Tummy, flat back. And this is a version of it. And then if we want to, which I always do, collapse. Turn into jelly and go as far forward as you want. And really relax. And relax your legs, go all flubbly. And do the version of the posture that you and or your students would prefer to do. For some people, that means putting a bolster. I'll tell you where to get real bolsters too, girls. You probably already know. Under your knees. This is a nice version. People who find it very difficult, turning to...
Not my face.
No. I tend to do that. I leave it running and then I forget. My bad.
Is it just me or you can feel it too?
What's that?
The heat.
I'm a lizard. I like the heat.
I'm going to open that door to let some warm air out. Lizard and snake.
Yeah.
I know what it's like. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Don't hesitate to remind me.
I appreciate that I can tell you.
Oh God, yeah. I have one desire among the other than the obvious, and that's to make you comfortable. Yes, good. Moving air.
Yes.
That feels good, doesn't it? All right. So Paschimottanasana. It's a beautiful pose. It's not everyone's favourite because they can't straighten their legs. So sometimes you swipe it. You don't do it. If you've got a bunch of women that look like they're in pain because they can't get the leg stretch, definitely. Okay, Upavishta Konasana, side splits. This is another one that's not a favourite, but I always put it in because we've got to get those inner thigh muscles soft and long. Got it. The idea is to, again, make sure the pelvis is in a position where you feel like you're not rolling back. We want to get the students upright. Grab your bum, lift it out. Grab your bum, your glutes, lift them out, and that will automatically get you into a lovely tilt. Yeah, you like that?
I really do.
Yeah.
I'm going to get
I don't-
everyone spreading their butt cheeks.
Why I don't do it in class is because I've got Ali and John in the front row, and Ali will laugh and not do it. John, you know, it's relative. Oh, it's all relative. Okay, now can you get your knees down? Is that okay with the legs on the floor? I'll spoil it with two
Yeah,
rows
fine.
of mats.
I don't know. I'm going to go this
Go
way.
sideways. Yeah, go sideways.
I
Absolutely.
don't know if my knees are down. Yes, my knees are down.
And for you, darling, hands behind your back to start. And what you want to, so some students will roll their knees in a little bit. What we want to achieve, if you've noticed that with people, they might roll their knees in. What we want to achieve is toes and knees pointing to the ceiling. That's a nice, healthy, easy hip rotation. For us, we want to go into the ballet, yes. And if that's
That-
natural,
That
is that comfortable?
hurts. For
Yeah, don't
me.
do it, don't do
Yeah.
Do what's comfortable,
Yeah.
so that we can then move forward. So here, lifting up, tummy, pelvic floor, hands supporting, and that might be far enough for you, Jen Lee. What do you think?
I can go a little bit as
Little
long as I
Go
don't
further,
collapse.
slowly going further. Go as far as you want to go, and ideally nose on the ground and chillax. but we don't have to go any lower than is comfortable. And you might find that when you get to your almost maximum, you can't hold it for more than 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So you can pull back always. Always pulling back. Coming into the easier version. Yes, now the reason, notice the problem you're having with your mat now and the floor, this is why carpet is always better. If you have an opportunity to have a well carpeted room, but I mean good carpet, it's much better for this reason.
Yes, I just had one up and one down.
Exact.
At least
And I've got 3 layers of mats because we're going to sit because we're doing sitting postures and I wanted our hips to be okay. So that's an issue for me. When I make another $8,000, I'll be putting down some very, very plush woolen carpet again. It only costs $8,000.
You might be able to find cut-offs. You know how
Problem
they
is
do
I'm a
that?
bit of a perfectionist. Has to be the
Yeah.
best high grade, and because I'm living on it, as in doing yoga, it becomes. I had a romantic relationship with my carpet. I refused to teach in this room when the carpet flooded, and the RSA put this down. They've replaced it twice. This was the 3rd time,
Oh, gosh.
and they said, no, you're having a waterproof floor now. We won't give you any more carpet. Okay, so let's
You
go.
know what would be good?
Yeah.
If you could roll the carpet up.
Well, I never had it glued down.
Yeah.
But it's such a heavy mass. I was always rolling it up. It's one of the reasons my back didn't get better. I had corners, and I'd roll it up, and on any given week you'd come in, and just in case it was going to rain, half the room was raised. The carpet was up. My body was beyond. So this is easy for me. Alrighty. So let's do the variation. Turn to your left and move your hands down either side of the leg, keeping the right hip on the ground. So put your hands either side of the knee now and anchor that right hip and bow the head down and breathe into that. And here you look around the room and notice which students are struggling and which ones are not. The ones that are not, you let them stay in the postures longer. They'll lollygag and hang out there because it feels good. Whereas those of us that have more tension in the body will come out of each posture faster. Regardless, when you're ready, let's rotate over to the other side. And when you are comfortable, you'll notice that you need to swivel your middle back. Did you notice that? You had to swivel your middle back to get your body more over that neck. So we want to get the torso more over that thigh. At the same time, anchoring the left hip and walking down as far as you can go. And breathing deeply. So if we're going to talk about chakras in this posture, the obvious chakra, legs open, we've got base chakra, we've got a rotation in the middle and in the lower and the middle. So we're activating the second 2 chakras. We're folding forward, heart, neck. It's basically, if we're talking about chakras, it's a full activation posture. However, all of our chakras are active all of the time. It's just that these postures, like a meridian conversation, they tend to open up the light, create more light if we breathe into the area. So you've gone from both sides. And now Janu Shasana. Coming up, let's shake the legs out. If at this point you want to rub your bum, this is what I need to do now. I need to massage my glutes and I need to massage my hip flexors. I have a lot of people get issues with hip flexors, hip flexor. I say flexor because that's how it's spelled, flexor. No, that's the hip flexor. I mean the the goddamn hamstring tendons. The hamstring tendons, so my hamstrings are great, but my hamstring tendon is when the hamstring connects to the bone, and I've had it torn off because I bend over too much. Just doing that aggravates the hamstring tendon. So you might have students in class that are nurses or caregivers, and what's about they've got hamstring issues and they don't know it, which leads to bursitis. Yeah? It's a whole story. So just from bending down too much, we wear out all the joints, and the first cab off the rank, the first symptom that we need to be aware of is pain under the bum. And people don't talk about it much. We talk about people struggle along for years. They think it's stiffness, whereas in actual fact, if we know that it's the beginning of hamstring tendonitis, which leads to hip bursitis. Yeah, it's very sore in there, isn't it? And sometimes it burns.
The hip's not here.
Yeah, right. So it may, wherever it started, everything leads to everything. So there's a certain demographic of women that we need to take care of. Now that we've done this for a few minutes, let's go back to our bums. It's always good to have a break and rub in a class. This is one of the reasons you'll find me doing this posture in every class, just about, because I need to release my hip flexors. And I figure everyone has the same body as me. We're all humans. We've all got two legs. Our pelvises look identical almost. It's just our lifestyle that differs. So we can assume that if you've experienced something, they might have too. Use your own experience as a base. Okay, back to Janu Shirshasana. Sitting up tall, left leg in, right leg out. Actually, no, we'll do right leg in, left leg out. I'm trying to remember to go to the left first. I've made a note of it here in the teaching notes. Go to the left first because we're honouring the Fibonacci and the golden mean, which is the truth. So always going to the left first. However, I often forget. And the sun does rise the next morning. So it's all relative. Okay, sitting up tall. Again, generally, is your pelvis comfortable there?
Yeah, I did this the first time, so can I switch?
Yeah.
But remember that next time we're doing left first.
Well, when you did, we didn't do this before. This was
Wasn't I
your
seeing
version
like
of
this?
this. That was
Oh.
your version of this, wasn't it? So we're going to do it again. But you don't
Okay.
have to do it.
No, I can do it.
Yeah. You don't have to. That was your version of this. It looked the same, but your leg was out a little bit. This time you commented on whether the leg should be out or in. This time we want the leg straight on,
Okay.
aligned with your spine.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So an entirely different version of that.
Great.
Okay, so sitting up nice and tall. Again, move your bum cheeks out, and the right knee is bent, so the right arm comes up. Reaching up. Sorry, I should have corrected you. I wasn't even thinking. Reach up. Can you straighten your elbow? And if you can't, we want to keep the elbow straight, even if it's down there. Okay? Because we want to get that arm strong. And eventually, next to the ear. Alright, from here, tummy in, pelvic floor lifting. The left hand can be wherever you like. We won't get too fussy about that. And now you're going to reach up and reach, and teach your students to stretch their skin. Reach. Stretch the ribs and fold. And hand on the leg wherever you like. That's great. And now look at your right arm. I want you to create a right angle in that arm. In all the yoga books, they'll tell you to reach for the foot, but that creates a crowding of the neck and shoulder. So I prefer to have a nice drop. This is probably the ballet in me. A nice dropped shoulder and a nice dropped arm. So there's none of this. No crunching. And then from there, I can pull my right arm to my right and get maximum stretch in the shoulder blade. Can you feel that? We're really working hard to use the leg and the arm as lever and pulley. I don't even know if that's the right terminology, to get an opening in not just the shoulder blade region, most of the shoulder girdle, and also our intercostals, which is the rib cage, all the way down. And when you're ready, you'll release that and you'll slide to the bent knee. So we're rotating around slowly, staying as low as we can. The lower the better. This particular work, going from side to side, very low, will aid endometriosis. Women that do this posture at a young age will get a lot of movement and toning of the womb and won't have issues, or ideally won't. It's very exciting. Got to get that. They've got to get the blood moving. In traditional Chinese medicine terms, we want to get the blood moving. Okay, so you've rotated around to your right knee, hands either side of the bent knee or elbows either side of the bent knee. Now, students often won't be able to get 2 elbows down. Can they get 1 elbow down? I always get people to try 1 elbow first, one or the other. One or the other. That's it. So that's your journey, Jan Lee, is to try and get one or the other elbow
I
down.
think I'll just
And
collapse.
You
if I
could
do
cheat and use a peak block. Put your elbow on one of those. Yes, and now that feels good, doesn't it?
Mm.
And now the work is to try and get that left hip onto the
yes.
ground. But you can do both. You can work halfway. Do you know what I mean? It's tricky, isn't
that.
it?
They've got to keep that.
Yeah, and what we're doing slowly is we're encouraging your body to lengthen, just to lengthen. But however, some bodies lengthen slowly, some bodies lengthen fast. What's more relevant here is being grateful for the body we have at this point in time. Limitations are beautiful things. Beautiful things. They lead to gratitude. They should lead to gratitude.
Am I meant to be upright?
No, you're back
curved
curved. Yeah, relaxed. The idea here is to get those hips open. The rest of the body is doing what it wants to do, in my book. Let's come back now, and when you're ready, we'll come over that front leg once more. And now relax into it. Go a fraction deeper if you can, and come out of it when you're ready. Don't stay there for too long if you don't want to. If it feels good, stay there. Lovely. That felt good. Changing legs when you're ready. Left leg in, right leg out. And moving the buttocks. And sitting up lovely and tall. Pelvic floor up. Tummy in tight. Open in the heart and lung area. Shoulder girdle down. The left leg is bent, so we'll raise the left arm. And if it's bent, I want you to try and straighten it and lock that elbow. Because we're not weight bearing on that arm, you can lock your elbow. But when we're weight bearing on the arm, we don't lock it. But we want to lock it here because it'll activate all the bits. And reach up, stretch the skin across the ribs, the side ribs, they're massive. Stretch them, stretch the skin, stretch the intercostals, and gently fold. Gently, gently fold. Place the hand on the leg, make a right angle with the left arm, and relax all the muscles of the torso, tummy, belly. When we're going into these deep stretches, we can choose to hold the pelvic floor and the tummy in, which is very Iyengar, but in yoga therapy mode, Satyananda yoga mode, everything is soft and wobbly. so that our posture, our body can fall into the deeper version of the stretch with no yang. So soft. Enjoying that, dragging that left elbow to the left, and when you're ready, you'll rotate around to the left knee and keep that right hip moving towards the ground. So there's the compromise, Janley. We can go a little bit further when we do that or that and keep that down so we can explore that. It's just like a seesaw. You're just encouraging your body and letting it know what you want, what you want it to do. And one or both elbows on the ground or not. Full forward stretch, whichever you choose to do. Breathing into those rear ribs, soft pelvic floor. And always remind the students that when we're hanging the head down, to really hang it down, to really let go of the back of the neck muscles, to really let it go. Breathing into the areas that you've not breathed into yet. At some point in a yoga class, we want to get our students to really breathe deeply into all of the lungs. This is why I encourage deep breath through each posture. A lot of the time people don't get to do the breath work during breath work time, during Shavasana or meditation. Sometimes they fall asleep. So we want to continue with the breath work through the postures. Always. Generally speaking, breathing into a rib cage is a really useful thing to do because you can feel it. As you expand in the back, you can feel those ribs moving. So it feels like, oh, I've breathed into my ribs. When you when you tell someone to breathe into a knee, that's not going to be the same thing, so we don't do it. We want people to feel what we're telling them to do. No yoni breathing either, please. Sounds ridiculous to me. All right, back to the centre. And now, back there for a moment. Go a fraction deeper if your body wants to. It might have had enough. Relaxing there for a minute. Breathing now. Can you expand the breath into the side ribs? When you're ready, you'll begin to come out of that. Take your time and you'll sit up and you'll rest for a moment. You might want to rub your thighs, rub your hips, rub a body part. Some people get neck issues. It's all good. We're going to rub our bodies, love our bodies. Every touch is a touch of love. Now let me demonstrate the alternative version of all those last postures. This one, for example, alternative for people that can't straighten their knees. I'll just show you one side. It'll be on the video. We're just going to get them to do that instead. Instead of that, that. Again, you've fallen asleep with a couple of beers in your belly. And what we want them to achieve is knee to head. They may never be able to do this. They might get here one day or here, depending on how old the body is and what it's been doing for the last 6 decades. So sometimes it's kinder to just get people to do this. Just hang out. Rather than them feeling like that's an impossible posture, because it's a strong posture. It's got strong hip rotations. Some people will never do it. So that is a very kind version. And isn't it relaxing, generally?
It is, I was going to say.
Yeah, for someone
It's
that's...
actually really relaxing.
Yeah, so it might be a preferred posture for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just getting that and trying to get the
Particularly
weight on
if
the...
you can't sleep. It's a nice little posture to...
Oh, it's lovely, darling. It
Yeah.
activates a lot of chakras. It's very beautiful. So that's our alternative for that. I'm going to turn the camera off now before we start our twists. Thank you, camera. Love you.